the T-shirt of NIM signifying that he was participating in a political activity prohibited by the Code of Conduct law that he signed on December 11, 2024. The reason also is that Josiah has said that those of us who are his friends and Liberians also take me back to my home. For setting that standard. And because he set that standard, we expect him to live up
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.
Say, brother, no, we can't let you slip because, you are one of the good guys that we can trust. And I think Liberians, Amara Conan, I read his statement. I think he was attacking Amara. Amara doing a civil responsibility as a senator, as a citizen, calling his attention to why he saw as a violation. I think he attacked Amara. Amara did not attack him. Snow came and said the same thing. Akara Grace said the same thing. And you mentioned the president. This law was crafted when President Walker was a sitting vice president. Very knowledgeable of this law. He has been dancing in violation, and it's about time President Walker start calling cabinet meeting and appealing to officials to do well. And I'm tired of that. He needs to.
Thank you. And Emmanuel, let me come to you. So one of the problems we face is when it is our guy, it's fine. It is only wrong when it's the other guy is doing it. And that's the problem, right? So what should citizens do? You see, we have someone in the audience, Lofa River Time, say he wasn't in error. 49 lawmakers assembled to appreciate the president of his good work. He also said Josiah did not campaign, Josiah did not engage in political activity at Nimbo, Josiah did not canvass. The same Lofa River saying Nimbo is not a registered political organization. So this is the problem we have all the time. How do we address this? Because I'm sure the 49 or 39 lawmakers that Thomas Fowler referenced that are on board with in limbo, probably they all violated as he said. But the persecution now is mainly on Jokai. And now people that support Jokai or the Unity Party will say, no, this is not bad. It was Dr. Jokai who even took the salaries of those who were suspended as a result of the violation of Code of Conduct law and said we're going to use this to buy armchairs, right? But we support when it's our guy, and then when it's not our guy, then we don't support it. What's the way forward, Mr. George? I know ANC is going to come to power one day, and will you be singing the same song?
No, we're not. I would not. We either learn to respect the laws we have in place, or we decide to cancel them. It's as simple as ABC. If the Unity Party government, under the president of the Liberian Senate, His Excellency Joseph Yeman Boakai, deem it fit to pass the Code of Conduct law, and 6 years or 7 years later they find it difficult to respect it, then there's a problem. They expected the WIA government to do the same thing. When Samuel Tuer and others were using government vehicle, they were showing video of it during the last election season. We're all in the CPP. We did it when we were in CPP together. We're against it. So it was wrong yesterday. It's wrong today. And these people came on the issue, on the mantra of rescue. They came to rescue the country. When you decide that your mantra is rescue, then you are holding yourself to a higher standard. You cannot compare yourself to the standard of the previous government or even your former government. You are saying that this country has a problem with rescue. And one of the problems the country had that they were rescuing is us going to party official function as government official wearing their uniform. We all saw the photos with the how they call it, the EPS officers that were supporting George Weah in CDC uniforms. Officers, security officers, and we all frown against it. So it was wrong yesterday, it's going to be wrong today. And the right way to correct this situation is to have our brothers, Mo Ali, who was the official spokesman of the Unity Party and spoke with the CPP, to have Dr. Josiah Joker, and every one of them, Joker rather, and every one of them who found themselves in that situation, to make sure it does not happen again. We must, if we have to change Liberia, those of us who have been given this great opportunity to be political leaders in our country, it should start with us. We should be the first to change. Once we change, the people will follow us. Well, if we decide not to change, the people will not follow us.
What happened if Pat called Tea Kettle Black? All right. That takes us to our next issue, the ANC letter to the LACC on the Mano River Union Center project in Foya. So there's a letter from the Alternative National Congress requesting the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate the Mano River Union Center for Regional Peace and Development project in Foya, and which raises questions about procurement, project transparency, political geography, and whether development projects are being used for public benefit or political advantage. Mr. George, I mean, I'm not asking you as a spokesman of ANC, but you're an official of ANC. Why you wrote this letter?
Yeah, I'm not a spokesman of ANC. I'm an official, and I'm one of those who accepted that this letter should be written. Look, 2 years now, for 2 years first, we allowed the Boyka government to lead. We did that because during the last election cycle, many Liberians accused us in the ANC for being a greedy party, that we do not support others, we're greedy for the presidency. So we allowed 2 years to pass so that the Liberian people can understand, no, what we have, the fire that is burning within us is a fire to see a change and transform Liberia. A Liberia that when I was growing up, you have a semblance of hope that you will get a job. When I went to TC in 1989, we're very sure that 2 years later we get our associate degree, we're going to be employed by LTC, the Ministry of Public Works, and other agencies in Liberia. We were being hired one way. In fact, 50% of the students on TC were on scholarship. They were already hired as workers at Tottenham College. That's the Liberia I grew up in. It's a Liberia where when December came, we applied and were given vacation job. I had my first job at JFK in the maintenance department, walking the steps of JFK every morning and making sure that everything was working properly. That's the Liberia we grew up in. And that's what the ANC, because we knew Liberia, we know how Liberia could be. We had a very good vision of the future of this country. So what we have right now is that we decided that we're no longer, in as much as we spend so much time on focus on Liberia, spoon talk, closing argument, right in the newspaper, we are going to take this a step further. We are going to make sure that issues that need to be handled legally, we take it legally. President Boyka and his Unity Party government decided to start a mysterious project in Foya, Lofa County. President Boyka told the Liberian people he had no idea, even though he's from Foya, he had no idea how that project got to Foya. President Boyka told the Liberian people that the entire process was mysterious. But this same President Boyka also was there for the groundbreaking ceremony. So either someone is lying on the president or the president is being magically duplicated. There is a second, a double worker, one that can go to a groundbreaking ceremony, leave on a groundbreaking ceremony, and have no idea of a project in your hometown Foya. Again, the government of Liberia told us through the Cousin Ministry, led with Daniel Sando and Jeremiah Pia, that the project was a Mana River project. The second week they came back, they said the project was a national security project. When President Burka spoke to the nation on that project, another MRU project, nor was it a security project. It was a project for ECOWAS Peace Conference. Now, this project, 10 million, they said when it came out, it was 6 million. The president said it was 10 million. The president said 6 million. So we have a project in the country that nobody in government seems to know how that project came to be, what the procurement exercise of that project is, the actual amount that is being spent on that project. And even though it's a peace building project, the Guineans are close to the project. And they have taken our property there, and nobody from the peace building Mana River $10 million project have gone to ask the Guineans to go back. So we in the ANC are saying, because there is so much confusion surrounding this project, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Agency should investigate this project. We are not accusing anybody. We want the right story as Liberians. So at the Alternative National Congress, we have decided that we'll take this step further. And I'm telling every politician, we will be on a radio station, we'll speak, but we'll take you people to court, because the justice system was made for us to sue you. The LACC was made for us to report cases. So we have reported this $10 million case, and we're looking forward to the LACC investigating this case. There's another allegation in the House of Representatives that people are still playing around with. Maybe one morning too, they will receive a letter where we'll be requesting that our allegation be investigated.
Mr. George, before you hand it back over, of everything else going on in the country, and the Foya project, you're not hearing, ANC is not hearing about it today, being months, right? Why now? And what makes this stand out besides other things that probably you will say need investigation? Why just the Lofa project or the Foya project?
Because the Foya project is a mysterious project. Even the president of Liberia told us that he didn't know how the project started. That's a non-security issue we are overlooking. Then we have a duplicate to the president that did the groundbreaking ceremony, because the president said, you know nothing, but there was a that's the reason why it is extremely important. Then we have a project where at a particular level, they say it's the SOEs that have given us money to the project. But we have a national budget. Dennis, take this is extremely serious. That's why this is serious. We have a national budget that the SOEs are not contributing to. Right? If you look at our national budget, the National Port Authority is contributing nothing. LPRC said they broke, they're contributing nothing. But yet them still a mysterious project is in Foya, and all of the setting, magically, the MPA found money to support that project. All of the setting, the LPRC finds money to support that project. So it is important. It's a national issue, and that's why we are raising it. Because we have our national budget depends on the SOEs supporting those budgets. But we have SOE that say they are broke, but yet and still is sending money to somewhere in Foya that the president of the Republic of Liberia has said he had no idea that there was a project in Foya, even though he's from Foya.
Thank you. Let me welcome Esther, the legend Wisse. Mr. Wisse, welcome. I want to ask you, let's start from the letter written by the ANC asking for an investigation in this, what is called in Liberia, the Foya presidential villa.
Right.
We see the ANC called for the LACC investigation. You can see the villa right there. Do you agree with the ANC?
I couldn't agree more. I think they have a salient point. And listen, what was wrong yesterday is certainly wrong today. I must start with a full disclosure that in the past election, I'm one of those who've never been a member of UP, but I wanted to see an honorable statesman in person of President Boubacar ascend to power after George Weah's leadership. But the way some things are unfolding in the country today, it is only wise that people speak up when the need arises. And this is one of the issues. I mean, you can be carrying on a major project a day in a sinister manner and think it wouldn't come to light. Remember, our history has shown us that our leaders, all the people that are closely associated with our leaders or that are surrounding our leaders, have typically been the problem in our country. Think about when the war, during the inception of the war, the people who were surrounding former President Samuel Doe, they were not forthcoming when the rebels were coming to the city fast. They were telling him giving him false narrative of what was unfolding, and President Doe was deceived. And we saw how that played out in the end. And so is this project. Either the president is cognizant of it and he's being sinister about it, or the people who are surrounding the president initially did not do due diligence, for which it came out from the public, and then the president was forced to come up with a statement that any rational being can tell that there's half truth in the president saying he's not knowledgeable on a project that is taking place in his birth county, Lofa County. So, I mean, I support the president of today, President Joseph Yuma Boubacar, but under no circumstance, as a Liberian and somebody who comes from a journalism background, with ascribe to something that is wrong knowingly. I always tell people, I would never ascribe to anything that is wrong knowingly. When George Weah did something and we bash him and we wanted him to leave state power because things were not going right, we should do similarly today when President Joseph Yuma Boubacar is doing so. And if you may, Ja, I can chime in on the previous discussion in 1 minute relative to Josiah Jokai. And
30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds will do. It's unfortunate that he served in a very influential position in the country, and he thought, being somebody who was appointed instead of being a civil servant, he could not, be answerable to that. That's unfortunate. I mean, at his level, he should know that, certain things, you should know that you cannot just go get away with certain things. Because you're not a civil servant, it doesn't mean you will get away by saying certain things like that. No, the president appointed you, but you're certainly in the government. You can be held responsible by making reckless statement that anyone sees through, and every level-headed person could see through that statement that he made. Thank you. That would do.
Yeah, check. And I forgot, George, just 30 seconds. What specifically do you want the LACC to investigate when it comes to this villa? What specifically do you want to be investigated?
We are asking the LACC to disclose whether the PPCC Act was followed.
Okay.
We are asking the LACC to help the Liberian people understand where this money came from, because this money is not in any of the budget of the Republic of Liberia.
Okay.
We are asking the LACC to investigate the SOEs that stated that they supported this. For example, the National Port Authority, the LPRC, both entities have refused to support the 2026 budget. They provided limited funds to the 2025 budget, but yet and still they mysteriously found money to support this project. So we're asking the LACC to investigate how that money was found and why was it not contributed to the national budget. We're asking the LACC to help us understand who gave the right for that project to because the president said he had no knowledge of the project. So we need to know how the thing started. Because you see, this
you answer my question. you answer my question. Let me go to Mr. CA. Mr. CA, when an opposition party requests an anti-corruption investigation, should the public treat it as a responsible oversight, a partisan attack, or both until the facts are established? And would the opposition that's asking trust the findings from the LACC?
That is a very good question. And I would say both and if I may add, all of the above. And that is what serious governance, politicking, and democracy calls for. George is on point here. I commend the ANC as a political institution for taking a very good action. They have chosen to use the laws and our institutions established for accountability. That is responsible politicking, and I can't, commend them enough. The project in question, as Joy explained, is beyond human understanding. That a project of that magnitude will not be captured in the national budget. As Joy explained, the president expressed that he had no knowledge. In fact, not only the president, members of his cabinet said the president didn't know anything about it. And it was built in Foya. Foya is the town of the president. He's from Wasanga. And those who are familiar with Lofa, you can help me here. Wasanga, I think, should be in Foya, within Foya, I'm not mistaken.
Foya
yeah, Foya district. This is the president district. There where the building is. So the information has been conflicting from the very start. The president didn't know about it, and they were doing this. And now a presidential motorcade will show up at that very compound. Well, they said it was MRU project, and the Emmanuel River Union spokesperson came and said, no, we have no knowledge. There has been no conversation whatsoever concerning any project intended for Emmanuel River. Never. But at some point, they decided that they would stick to the Emmanuel River Union project thing. And that's why that conversation is ongoing. And my instinct is that they are doing everything to make the MRU people to accept this, just for them to be able to cover this up. So Dennis, all of the above, the ANC, I will encourage the ANC, if they don't get the answers they are looking for from the LACC, they should go to the court. This is serious. You cannot build a project of this magnitude. It's not in the budget. We don't know the sources of funding. We don't even know the total amount for the project. And here's the other part, Dennis. A cousin or nephew, I'm told, of the president, one Edward Yomba, is the one supervising the project. A family member of the president or a relative of the president, based on focus on laboratory investigation and report that we put out there. And I encourage all of you to look for that report. Focus on laboratory, an investigative report, and we analyze everything, and the video is out there for you to know from start to end how the whole project, or charades started. I mean, are we talking about Unity Party? Did we not, together with the Unity Party, hold the CDC accountable on some of the things that were not clear to us during the time of the CDC? And this government is about rule of law. President Walker campaigned on the rule of law. And I think the rule of law was, President Walker's, number one message, rule of law, rule of law. So the ANC now is saying we're going to use the rule of law to get the answers that the government is not responsible enough to give us. Tell us how much, where the money comes from. George made another important point I want to emphasize here. I did a research also on the SOE, how much they are contributing to the national budget. In 2025, the National Port Authority, the gateway to the nation's economy, quote me on this one, did not contribute a penny to the national budget. Quote me, or quote focus on Liberia. I'm strong on this. National Port Authority did not contribute a penny to the national budget. And then they heard, and from Unity Party sources, that some funds came from the NPA to support a project that up to date, Liberian people are not clear who owns this project and what the project is actually for. The government is yet to come clean on it. There has been one conflicting information coming from the government. So this is a serious matter. This is a transparency issue. This is an accountability issue. And we expect the Unity Party to be transparent. We expect the Unity Party to be accountable. That's the only thing we expect from them. We don't want lies. We don't want secrecy when it comes to national governance. The party was elected because the campaign that they'll be transparent, that they'll be accountable, and that the rule of law will be applied. And so I will stop that for Dennis.
Steve, why do public projects in Liberia so often become controversial only after political actors raise alarms instead of being transparent from the beginning? I mean, why do we always have to go through this?
I think because my thing from growing up in Liberia as a child, as Dr. George clearly put it, nothing is new under the sun of the earth, and nothing is new in Liberia. And it's keep happening over and over because we always allow it. We don't talk about it. We sit on it. And just like, for example, the lawmaker comes, he gets into power, and he think when he bring one breach or when he get all light and people beefing so he drink any favor. No. It's about transparency. And why did they even choose that venue or they choose that area? What consultation did they have? Was it in selective or inclusive, or they just did it and decided to do it because they got power? That tells you that, okay, since I got power, I can do anything I want to do in my power because I'm serving at the will and pleasure of the people who elected me. But at the end of the day, I'm using my power to also overcome them. And we've seen it over and over, and that should not be the lesson here. Why is it that we didn't go back to say, okay, we got the OU Villa, we got OU Conference Center, and let's put all this money and energy in there, give it a facelift, and even ask MRU to come there or ECOWAS to come there and support it? Why, Parker? When and how did it even happen? My own recommendation to NAC is not just to own it, put it at the port in Liberia, but to put it as a regional challenge because it's happening across West Africa, and we just sit down and let it happen on our nose and our eyes. You should take out the Monetary Union. The sources of the income is the African Development Bank. It's our private funded. How did the money come out? We talk about money laundering. We say with the simple guarding Liberian wealth and all of that. When we shoot ourselves in the leg and we sit there, we see things happening this way, which is not cool. It's also security implication. I have followed a little bit. I learned that when they took sand from the river between Liberia and Foya, and they realized that they had diamond and resources from there, that how this Guinea came over. One day it's possible. I mean, did the citizen of Liberia come to a consultation? I did a lot of CSO work in Liberia. I know that if we want to do anything to go down to the nitty-gritty of the people who need it more, you go to an inclusive consultation with the people and they agreed on it. But we sit down and let this happen over and over. It's always going to be the way. Let's do it. It was Georgia yesterday. He came to power and he had all those duplexes. We sang the same news. It's not different. He built over how many duplexes in his compound on the Ralphie Highway. Change. So when you come to public power, there are things you can do. I mean, it's almost like in your face 24/7, and people are not being held accountable for them. Why is now an open budget? Why is now open access to information? Where's the money coming from?
So Steve, that's why I want to ask you, right? This thing. Why is it that people normally are not outraged by these things, right? The last time we were having a show here and there was this girl who the public went on because the way she was dressed. We are angry when we see a little girl who is not properly in our, eyes properly dressed. But why is there no outrage that $10 million is being spent in Foya for, the way George put it, a project that even the president said he didn't know about? Where is the outrage from the Liberian people?
That's mispriority.
Is it because you support your side? So if we are doing a project, CDC support that, and there is no issue. If Unity Party is doing a project, Unity Party people support that no matter what happens. So is this a leadership problem or a citizen problem?
I think it's both, Dennis. The reason why is this: we're not educated enough. Like the percentage, the mean percentage of
the education you need. If you have one bag of rice you're supposed to eat and somebody take it to eat it and you're hungry, what education you need to know that you're hungry?
Not all at that level. Not all at that level. So say one or sisters all sisters all. We're all not at that level. We know our level of understanding what the issue is. Let's go to the typical example. Go to the house in the house. The father bring the money, the mother bring the money, and everything done with the inclusiveness of the children deciding what to do. When the father is wrong, the father is wrong. When the mother is wrong, the mother is wrong. It's not because we accept it and happening and says we accept it. No, it's not. It's the mispriority thing because it's a partisan. It's out of tribal. It's out of okay. Let's do it in Lofa because all Lofa put in the government. We got more power. Let overrule it and overshadow it and take advantage of the power we're giving us and do what we can do.
Thank you. Let me go to the legend. Mr. We said one aspect of this is the interior of Liberia has been neglected for so long. Now you have $1 million project in Lofa, and we're going to also in Foya. We're also going to talk about the digital village in Foya. So if these projects are going in the interior that have been neglected for so long, isn't that ground for celebration? You know, in my hometown, they say, you don't want to eat meat, you want to know who should have gone, who could have meat.
Well, now when it's been done in a shiesty or a sinister way, people.
So it benefits the people.
It does. Let me put it like this. Say for instance, I would kind of align it with one of the most prominent cases that is in court right now with Liberia in terms of the former First Lady's project, her children's foundation. So hypothetically, I would put it like this: say she built a very fine structure, and the kids are benefiting from it. Say it was not fully audited; we don't know the extent and the amount that was spent on our project. So if they spend 20 million hypothetically, and they told the public they used 30 million, even though it has a meaningful contribution in the society today because it's empowering, it's helping to mold the minds of young people, it still doesn't sit well by virtue of the fact that they told us it cost them 20 million to erect the structure, while instead it was 30 million. So that tells raise qualms. People should not say something about it. So that's the case with this project in Lofa County, because there's a project in Lofa. The amount that has been spent is not clear. People don't know the monetary value of what is spent on it so far. I mean, those are things in structured society, like those of us who live in the great United States of America, in structured society. Those are things that leaders are forthcoming with, because if you don't, they put you on a public scrutiny. And when you start to come on a public scrutiny, that's when the people become a little more rigorous with you and the people who you work for. That's why in our society, leaders tend to overstep and tend to do things and get away with it, because the people who they don't understand that they work for the people. It's because of the people you are there to serve. The people who get you there is the people you are answerable to. But our leaders tend to shy away from that. Our leaders tend to disrespect the fact that they were placed in position because of the citizenry, because of the people who so elected them to those positions. So because of that, it kind of look demeaning, it kind of look disrespectful to the general public. You can't be carrying on a major project and you're doing it in a way that is secluded, and you think eventually with the level of technology, the level of internet exposure, the level of interaction with people on these various social media outlets, you think that it's not going to come to the light. And that's why today, this government that I initially supported is caught up today, because people like you said, once it gets in the eyes of the public, they're going to raise alarm. And it's because of that today, it looks bad. The optics look very bad on the government today. And you see ANC is coming for them, and rightfully so, because ANC want to unseat this government in 2029. And they have a shot at it. Right now, we're looking at the top people in terms of UP, CDC, ANC force in that line. So I think our leaders should be forthcoming with projects and undertakings in the country.
And Emmanuel, I'll come to you next, because this one is, I want to hear from Anthony about weaponizing anti-corruption institutions, because sometimes the government in power will weaponize this institution to go after people they don't like. I think you did an excellent report on the GAC auditing, just so that you can weaponize. Yeah, they are always auditing the previous government and can audit the current government. At the same time, how can Liberia avoid weaponizing anti-corruption institutions while still allowing opposition parties and citizens to demand investigation? And part two to that, is the ANC actually acting as a watchdog, or is this an opposition strategy to slow down the development at Zibo? Not just laughing.
Then that's for me, right?
Yeah, that's for you. I want to, before Joyce come in, go ahead.
Yeah, so then there's using anti-graft institution that they've been weaponized against political opponent. It should not be seen that way. But I'm going to be practical with this discussion. So the Unity Party as an institution should audit itself. And that is what it was elected to do. Sadly, human being human, most so political actors, they all will protect their own. So if they can do a much fairer job in holding the CDC accountable by carrying on investigations that are thorough and fair, and that they follow the law, and that the findings and convictions are based on evidence in the law, I am all for it. Because practically speaking, as we've seen already, I don't see how a Unity Party will want to audit itself. I believe strongly that our political institutions, our political parties, they don't have that level of patriotism to do so. I really doubt it. And so if the bare minimum is that they will hold their opponents accountable, all right, then I will take that. In as much as the accountability efforts are fair and based on the law, I will take that, as the Unity Party is trying to do now. Though we can all criticize it that it's being selective, because for the most part, all the people that have been called in and being investigated are people who serve in the CDC government. The other question I ask is, if Unity Party cannot audit CDC officials, who should do it? My answer will be, it will be no one, because Unity Party controls government right now. So it is Unity Party responsibility to do so. But it should just be thorough. They should follow the findings. They should follow the facts. And if they are found guilty, they should face the full weight of the law. And that's what we expected the CDC to do. The Unity Party held power for 12 years. It was best. CDC were well positioned to have carried on audits and investigations that will establish the facts. The other point I want to make is, Dennis, we as a people need to understand that investigations and audits are met for the benefit of the country and even the accused. As we've seen, there are some people who are accused, they went to court, they were not found guilty. So now they can enjoy the freedom from the accusation and the stigma on them that they were presumed to be guilty or that they have stolen funds. They can celebrate today because, the courts have established that they did not do anything wrong. So how is that not a good thing? And so I would encourage the Unity Party to do it almost best to audit all the officials if they have the records, the evidence that there were some questionable transactions, as they are doing with Samuel Twer now. We heard about the $20 million for rice subsidy. Dennis, I don't know if you remember that. The rice subsidy thing, it was a huge issue during the CDC time. It was reported that they were putting money in the budget to subsidize the importation of rice. The allegation was that they will go beyond that very subsidies and connive with the importers, and the importers would not get the money. And so at some point, the price of rice went up because the importers were saying, we are not getting the subsidy. I remember it was $11 million in question in the budget set aside for subsidy to rice importers. Rice importers said they did not receive the money at the time. So it makes absolute sense for the Unity Party administration to say, we will try to go to the record and see what actually happened. It is the right thing to do. I don't care what CDC says about that. Samuel Twer, according to the jury verdict, did not do anything wrong. Samuel Twer was dancing. Was that not a good thing? So how can people say, well, they are targeting them? It is Unity Party government responsible to look at the records of the previous government, what they did right and what they did wrong, and bring the records to the Liberian people so we can have clarity. I would love that the focus is not only the past government, but the focus is on every official, on every transaction that is questionable. And that would be the right thing to do. I submit.
Thank you. Mr. George, how can we trust that the ANC is not doing this as a strategy to slow down the current government developing? Because in the eyes of some opposition people, if the government is doing well, that lower their chances of becoming president or taking the leadership.
Dennis, I'm a Liberian. My political leader lives in Monrovia, Liberia. The leadership, the core leadership of the party lives in Liberia. We are all Liberians. If Liberia develop, we'll be happy. Being in opposition doesn't mean we oppose everything. We have congratulated this government. When last year, when we're all receiving electricity, I was in Monrovia in October last year. I have electricity to my residents for the entire time I was in Monrovia, except for one night. We congratulate the government. But when we found out that the government was doing BSP on all with the electricity, we spoke against it. So the political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Mr. Alexander Cummings, have said over and over, we want President Boyka to succeed. We want him to make our work hard. We want him to make us to think many times and strategize 24 hours a day as an opposition political party. But we'll also hold the government feet to fire. The president himself, Dennis, this is the important thing we missing. The president himself said he had no idea how that project started. Imagine bringing foreign head of states into that building that have not been scrutinized by the NSA, our security network, given how we have all these different electronic surveillance instruments around the world. We have investigated. So that's the reason we're calling for this investigation. It has nothing to do with the success or insuccess of this government. What it has to do is the fact that it is our duty as Liberians to understand how that building mysteriously got into Foya. How come it is the president's nephew that got the contract? How did he get the contract? Who gave him the contract? Did they ask the rest of us Liberians who know how to build to build? Do you know the same president nephew is also having all the education ministry contract? Is he the only person who know how to build rest kitchen behind a house in the Republic of Liberia? But we'll get there to that one soon. But let's stay with Foya. That's the reason we are asking. We don't have to do much to oppose this government. Many Liberians have come to understand that the government has no idea of how to run the country right now. See the issue of Ebola, they're making it to look like we find them. When they had information that 16 persons were in the country under surveillance, they refused to tell us until one nurse made a mistake and made video that when they came to have press conference to inform us. No, we have to keep this government feet to the fire so that they can give the Liberian people the best that they can give us. And we were asking the question. We are not fighting. The LACC, let me say that the LACC is also an autonomous organization that is part of the government. We did not write to any foreign entity, even though we allowed them to have a copy of our letters. We wrote the Liberia Anti-Corruption Agency. That agency investigated Mr. Nataya McGill and they gave him certificate of freedom. That agency have carried out several investigations. It's the agency we have gone to ask them, please investigate this thing, because this is what the Liberian law says. If the LACC comes out, you asked this question before, if the LACC comes out tomorrow to say, oh, everything was done properly, this is the documentation, we as the Alternative National Congress will respect it, and the Liberian people will have the information they need to know that nothing took place. Besides, the LACC Director General was appointed by the former government, so we expect that she should have a semblance of neutrality, and we respect any decision they come up with. We hope they will take our investigation. We hope they will take this seriously, because this is in the national interest. And we as a political party respect the people who work at the LACC, and we hope we look forward to them doing a thorough job in investigating this situation that we have. So this is not to hold the government. The government have a lot of things that they can do, that they should be doing. Unfortunately, everything they share with other BMSP. They told us we had electricity, we're excited, we found out that they flash us. They told us that bus were coming in the country, we're excited, we found out they flash us. So we know the government are flashing government. Well, we have to stop. Anything they told us they were bringing they brought half metal machine just to take the yellow machine for the port or for Freeport to Bensonville to Benton area. They said at $2 million. We know the government. We know the flashing speed they're on. So we're not stopping them from doing development, but anything they do, we ask them to please tell us what is happening. What is happening to the 245 yellow machine that it says stay on the ship, according to the Honorable former Minister of Defense, Brani Samuka? It says still in Cote d'Ivoire. We have to ask the government, because we know that we needed those development, those machines to come to develop the country. That's why they sold to us. That's why we are excited for. So we keep asking the question, Dennis. We keep asking them. And as they answer the question, they should develop the country.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are discussing the Joker Nemo controversy, the ANC letter to the LACC, and that leads us to our next topic, which is the Foya Digital Village and the Banjima Monicoma Highway groundbreaking. And Emmanuel, myself, maybe we are the senior on the panel tonight. The Banjima Monicoma Highway, they have been groundbreaking ever since my father was playing football in Monrovia. So I sometimes get confused, but the
it got that happen.
Yeah, those two highways, Ganta Harper Highway, and I hope to go to Liberia this year. And please help me. I want to visit the Ganta Harper Highway, especially that spot that broke ground before. And then I will go to the to the Banjima Monicoma Highway to see how it looked like. But the Foya Digital Village was presented as Liberia's first digital village. My man, Anthony C., he did a good reporting on that. It was aimed at expanding rural internet access solar energy, and smart classroom capacity. Report said the project was designed to provide green energy internet connectivity to homes and institutions within 2.5 kilometers radius, including schools, clinics, churches, mosques, and community facilities. President Bouakai also broke ground for the Manikoma to Vanjima Highway pavement project May 23, 2026, a major road corridor expected to improve Lofa's connectivity, trade, and a cross-border movement with Sierra Leone and Guinea. Here's my question. And let me ask you first, the legend. Is Foya becoming a model for rural transformation? Or are we seeing politically symbolic development concentrated in the president's home region?
Well, your statement is it holds weight, and just think about it by virtue of the fact that when someone ascends to power in our dispensation, they tend to do more in their locale, in the local area. So I mean, it's only expedient and it's only glaring that people see a lot going on in that part of Liberia in the north right now. Speaking of Lofa County, similarly was the case with previous presidents and other leaders. When someone hails from the southeast want to become a president, you see the attention will drift in a direction, which is unfair, but it's the harsh reality that we have to live with. So, and another thing, Mr. George and Dr. George alluded to is, we have to say this openly: when a government is doing something right, objectivity we have to acknowledge. Similarly, if it is doing something wrong, we have to critique it constructively. It is within that vein that they critique what is happening in Lofa, things that are happening that the government is not forthcoming about. And it's within the same vein that when the projects are going on and it's right, like for instance, when we're getting the good news about electricity and it started to boom, they were always acknowledging that. And the same thing with the roads. When the roads have been constructed, be it the past government or CDC, that's one thing I give them credit for. They try in terms of road connectivity. I always say it. If there was something that they did okay with in their 6th year in power, they try with road connectivity. And I see this government is even headed in the same direction. Like the roads are a lot more pliable, just by what I heard from a couple of people, like Senator Emmanuel George, who's from the southeast. He alluded to that, and even Musa Ability, who is a leader of another party, a CMC. He said the roads are a lot more better than what they used to be in the past. So in that light, I'm just going to say that when there are things going right, we have to acknowledge, and when things are going wrong, we will say it, because objective people, they're not going to put their political institution first. Like for instance, if Mr. George is from ANC, he's not going to put ANC over Liberia. He's going to put Liberia first. That's why when things is being done fairly and correctly by this government, he acknowledged it. And when they are falling short, he's going to call them out. That's how we build and develop our country.
Well, thank you. Mr. CA, how should Liberians evaluate the Foya Digital Village? By the ceremony, the technology installed, the number of people served, or the long-term sustainability plan?
Of course, then there's a must and got to be the long-term sustainability plan, and how even we can replicate that by taking it to other parts of Liberia. Then as I'm a fanatic of technology. I can't live without internet. Internet is like my blood. And in the technology age we're in now, internet is the blood of everything. If you make me president of Liberia, my priority number one to have internet in every village. road will not be my number one priority. It will be internet access. Because I know Dennis Jai was recorded at some point as the best math teacher in West Africa.
That history is still there.
He could be teaching my little brothers and sisters in Southtown right now if internet was at the Southtown High School. While he's staying in America, he could teach them if they had internet access. I don't know what state Legend is in, but here we are. Liberians who are in Liberia watching the program. I'm all the way in my home state of Minnesota. If my brothers and sisters in my hometown of Southtown, Grand Creek County, they can see me, we can interact. It is all because of internet, nothing else. And the discussion we're having, some people are going to learn from it. That's education more profound than even the classroom education that we get, because when we're out of the classroom, sometimes we don't remember anything. It is the practical knowledge and interaction with people that stay with us and that we use for our daily life. So then it's yes, the project should be something that is sustained and replicated across the country. Is Foya becoming a development model? If that's, I think that is the president calculation. I think this president is very intentional that, look, I'm not going to forget my people. You know, there's a presidential villa, it's in Foya, and now the first digital village is also going in Foya. You know, the president had absolute right to do what he thinks is best. People in Foya, they are also Liberians. But on the other hand, Foya is not the only Liberia. Legend said that many presidents in the past, when they come to power, you know, they focus more on where they come from. We are aware when President Doe was president, he did well in Zwedru. You know, they have paved roads and all that, and other places didn't have those opportunities. When Tubman was president, I live in Harper, Maryland County. Almost all the streets in the city of Harper, almost all are paved. Those streets are still there today as we speak. The quality work was done. And now what, you know, the one that they did on Ellen Johnson Salive, by the time you pass, you know, it's all gone away, you know. So yes, I'm a fan of technology, and I hope that this project will benefit the citizens, especially the young people of Lofa. I want 2 years from now, when I talk to a child in Foya, I should see hope. I should see them having the potential to engage the world and have a contribution to make that Liberia can be proud of. I want to see that. It is just sad that we are talking about digital village for the first time in our country. After United Party, I had 12 years. They did not think about digital village. And there's a revolution that is going on right now in the world. Artificial intelligence. From our research, all the people that are involved with technology, they say they cannot imagine whether there will ever be another technological tool that will beat artificial intelligence. They cannot think of any other tool that will beat artificial intelligence. And our leaders, as we speak, there is not a penny in our national budget to teach Liberian citizens artificial intelligence. We are far behind when it comes to education. Artificial intelligence is the opportunity the nation has right now to captivate the minds of our future leaders and expose them to the tool so that Liberians can become competitive. I saw people in Rwanda investing millions, Ghana investing millions. The last time I was doing a research, I saw that Jeff Bezos, who is the owner of Amazon, planned to spend 100 billion. Then you hear me, that's a B. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. The investor is about to spend 100 billion. I don't say 100 million, 100 billion to build artificial intelligence softwares and products. But if a Liberian see you using artificial intelligence, they mock you. We need to tap into this. I encourage our leaders to put money in the budget to expose artificial intelligence and introduce it to our schools, especially our children. It will be beneficial to us. I encourage every lawmaker to send at least one of their staff for training to learn artificial intelligence. And if they even need our help here, I focus on Liberia. I'm not saying that as a boss. We are willing to help, because with the use of that tool, a lawmaker can understand a concession agreement in minutes. So to see that we're having our first digital village and it's in the president hometown of Lofa, it's a good place. You know, there's the parable in South they used to tell me, so when you're eating palm butter, you can put a palm butter in front of yourself. I think that's what the president is doing. But in the words of Cummings, he said the rice bowl, you need to make it big, so everybody will put their hand inside. But a lot of President Waka is saying, no, that in front of me, I'll put a palm butter. So the people in Foya, they are Liberians too. So let's start from Foya. Let's make sure that the citizens of Lofa, Foya are served, and then maybe we can get to Nimba before we can get to Victor Namwe's time all the way beyond God's back. Veteran, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. C. Good to be with you all. I am coming from behind God's back. Obviously, that's why I'm joining you late, but it is good to be with you all.
Thank you. Mr. C, you talk about the technology. The president just started a technology thing in the mansion, and I'm applying for it if there's available, because you know I'm applying to be part of that technology.
Yeah, you should be the head. You should be the head of that office. But our George Lobo, our good friend, will not tell you that you're not member of the party. Because you wanted the superintendent join science, say, my man, that opposition there for partisan, you're not partisan. George, I saw when you people come to power, when I asked him for my late superintendent, George to help on people. You know, ANC people not tell me, say, Anthony, you're not member.
So, Emmanuel, let me ask you about the president. We have the digital village in Foya, and now the groundbreaking for the Fundamental Monocomunal Highway. Is it time? You know, I didn't see any statement coming from the ANC, you know, celebrating the president, but these you know, the people in Labrador, everything is landmark. You know, what is the ANC saying about this one? Are you joining Mr. Sia to say, put the palm butter in front of yourself first? You are muted, sir.
Anything that brings development to Liberia and for the Liberian people, we support it. The reason why we don't run these days to congratulate the Waka government is because of we have come to realize that a lot of them have been trained by these BM boys we used to have. You know, they flash you and you think the money not real money. When you wake up in the morning, they work it. Like we have electricity last year, and now we can get electricity. The country, the ANC director tell us, last year we're clapping for him. He did he's telling us that, look, you people don't know the engineering behind electricity. So we congratulate the president. If you have traveled extensively through Liberia, you understand that three counties are the breadbasket for our country. And I strongly believe any serious government will make sure that there are strong rural interconnectivity in those counties, plus others because of other things they do. And those counties are Nima, Bom, and Lofa. So building that road to Manakoma is important. I remember some time ago, I used to work on an NGO. And one of the projects I had was to buy rice from the farmers. And I went to Lofa, and one of the villages that had a lot of rice, we couldn't get it because the cars could not go there. And the people came from that village, they had rice, $50,000 to purchase the rice. We couldn't purchase from them because the roads were not working. The road network was extremely terrible to go back there. So it's a good thing. This is not, I mean, the president is from Lofa. We can play politics about it, but Liberians should also note that Lofa is strategic in our green revolution and in our quest to be a country that can feed itself. So that is extremely important.
So throw in transparency when it comes to the digital village in Foya.
Yeah, so I come to Foya,
okay,
and the digital village, and that was the question. Because outside of Monrovia, and I've been out of Liberia for a while. I mean, I was in Liberia on tour, but I've not done extensive travel in Liberia since 2014. But by 2014, outside of Monserrado County, the next fastest and the most industrial county outside of Monserrado is Nima County. And I would believe if you want to develop something like a digital village, you would have thought about Nima County because of the proficiency of the level of development, the level of economic activity in Nima County, outside of Monserrado County, in Nima County. So that a question why they took it to Foya, because there's not a lot of what human movement in Foya, at least at the time I travel extensively in Liberia. And I would have thought Nima would have been the best place, Nima or Bam, who have been the best place because of the level of innovation in Nima County, the level of industrialization in Nima County, and the level of ingenuity that is happening in Nima County. I would have thought that would have happened there. So on the one hand, yes, I agree with the roles in Lofa because it's the Lofa, the full basket again, Lofa, Bam, and Nima County work in that direction. But the digital village being Foya, no, human traffic is very limited in Lofa County. Movement is very limited in Lofa as of my last time. So what the essence of it, what they expect to get from it, it's the same thing with that presidential project they put in Foya. It's a good project that is in the wrong place. And I don't know why they selected Foya for that project at that level. It is difficult to get to Foya during the reading season. Perhaps that's why we're building the role. And then you don't have a lot of people, a lot of human movement in that part in Lofa County. But I agree totally with the development of the role based on that. And congratulate to the president to do that. I hope they can start it. I was asking my friends, I thought when President Leaf did the groundbreaking with George Weah, was it not for that same Manokoma thing when President said he did, and George Weah did a groundbreaking and President Boyka felt that President said he was toxically endorsing Weah at that time? Was it not the same? Was it not the same project that was? But congratulations to the government.
Thank you. Since Victor is here, you and I were going to relinquish our
other rule.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but ever since we were children, we have heard groundbreaking of Vanjima Monicomna and also the Ganta Hapo Highway. But Victor, we always heard, Tamak can play that in Foya, you know, those kind of things that were a little more derogatory of outside Monrovia. Now we have a Foya digital village. That should be a good thing. But what I've been learning, and by the way, let me announce that I'm working with people to produce a document called Project 2029. And researching about this, I came, like almost every development that you have, you should always build like a 10-year maintenance plan. Okay. Based on that, who do you think, we all will say, yes, it's a good thing for the digital village, but who maintains the digital village after the launch? And what happens when equipment breaks, internet service fails, or server system require replacement? And I'm thinking about maintenance. Does a digital village make sense in rural Liberia if roads, healthcare, schools, electricity, and local income remain weak or is digital access now part of the basic development plan? Victor, I'm going back to these things, it's like sometimes when I will see the project as good as it may sound, what informs it? And what is the maintenance plan, at least 10-year maintenance plan, so that those of you who work in laboratory, we have a lot of what they call the white elephant project. You started, at some point, is just sitting there. Let me get your thoughts. You are muted, sir.
Yes, thank you again, Dennis. And I think what you're describing is our national tragedy. The lack of a national plan. We don't have a national development plan. So yes, I mean, Ellen Johnson came in with poverty reduction or something like that. And I believe President Weah came in with Propo, and now we have the arrest that almost every president who comes in, they throw the previous president's program out the window. And the fact is,
really just the name, but really they're supposed to all be working towards that same
continuity. I mean, that's what we're saying here. Government is continuity. That's what it is. I agree with you, Dennis. So we are left off. Black eyes should be able to pick up some of the places where we are left off. Of course, unfortunately, right now they're fighting over who started which role and who is completing which role. Very, very childish. You know what I mean? But to come to your point, I think the president is heavily, focused in Foya specifically, not just even Lofa alone, but just Foya. And I think that too is wrong, because what that is going to do is going to create animosity. It's going to create, animosity towards some of the good projects he started. Other people might come in and begin, to pay back and say, you know what, let me do my part, and whatever Ibwaka did his part. We have the Terminal University in Maryland County that served the whole Southeast. If he wanted to build a digital village, I think that would have been best situated, for this president, especially considering the fact that he has completely neglected the Southeast. I don't think Ibwaka has even been to the Southeast in decades. Why is he going back to Lofa? He already has the African Peace Project, which is going to cost tens of millions of dollars being constructed in Lofa. Why do we need to put a digital village in Lofa? If I had the president here, I would have advised him, against that. I think it would have been better situated. Why not even in Banga, central Liberia? Or like I say, in Maryland. But again, coming back to the question of the National Development Plan, I think this is something that we really need to pay serious attention to. Most governments here, they deserve a 25, 50-year plan. It is adopted by the legislature. When you come into office, you have to work within the confines of that plan. You can't keep, dreaming of projects all over the place because you want to create a legacy. You come up with African Peace Project, you leave Hotel Africa sitting there completely abandoned when you could have renovated that, but you want to build another $10 million project in Lofa that has absolutely no access. It doesn't make sense. So with undertaking these disjointed projects, and when the president leaves, you go into Tucson and see what is happening there. When the president leaves office, unfortunately, all of that investment goes to ruin. And I think this is what we are seeing here. There is no continuity, like you just indicated. We have to find a way to tie these projects into one another. Since you and I were a kid, since I was a kid before you came along, we have heard about the Ganta Hapo Highway, project from time immemorial. Everybody comes in and they pay lip service. The reason why usually the developments are directed in locations is usually because that area is a little bit less paid attention to, underserved, so you want to direct attention there. So you put a project there, and then the investors will follow that project and develop the area. But you have this area that's already saturated. Foya is saturated. What more are we going to, why do we still need to take another, high-profile project there? That would be my input on that. I think it would have been better served. We would have been better served as the president, selected a different location, like I said, Bon County, centrally located, or in the Southeast.
Yeah, and my view on it, as I love technology, I can't live without technology now, especially internet. If we're even to start, and I'm not trying to say that lower expectation, right? But if we could start with just basic internet Wi-Fi connectivity in all the high schools in Lofa, for instance. At the University of Liberia, they say each department you are teaching maybe geography course. So you and your students get together and just have your own little styling, and that's why people. So can we not invest in at least say, well, let's use the same Lofa. At least let's have internet connectivity, some form of Wi-Fi each of these schools, so that at least even if the students cannot, the teachers can log on to the Wi-Fi and download some materials to teach, right? Something that's simple and that can go a long way for people to use. I mean, people that are not able to, maybe they are still struggling with reading, a digital village, while the idea may be good, it may not be fully utilized because the people are not really there. Basic internet, just let's have internet, because I want people to be able to watch Focus on Liberia in Foya, and all the things that we're doing. If you have a smart TV there, because we have electricity, we have internet, a lot can be done, and the development can spread. That's how I'm looking at it. It's like these projects are so ambitious, like even the Mana River project in Foya. If that would be a basic, housing unit, so that tomorrow, if you build a story building when there's no electricity, you can go up there, for instance. But if you build basic, 2-3 bedroom apartments that the locals can even use it, even if they don't have, it will be a little more meaningful. If you put a big building, like right after the war, when there's no electricity, it was almost impossible to go up there at the Ministry of Education. I have my former teacher working there. I used to go visiting. The whole place is dark. So kind of long-term way of thinking. But I want to announce that if you want to participate in the conversation, please call 605-313-6004. The code is 791403#. And while we wait, let me ask you, because you support the CMC, right? What is the ANC has written a letter talking about the Foya project to be investigated. What is the CMC position? Because a lot of things happening. What is CMC saying about how things are going in the country? Too much later, we have the Guinea border thing, now the project, all these things going on.
Yeah, I mean, I commend the ANC for this statement. Is a little bit, behind the curve? Absolutely. This is almost 2 years too late. But notwithstanding, I think in the grand scheme of things, I think it's a good thing that they're adding to the voices, in the opposition bloc that are calling on this government to be more transparent about this project. We issued our statement, months back, calling for almost the same thing they're calling for, that this government should be transparent about, what this is about. We know all the flip-flopping from the government when the project initially started. Even the Minister of State didn't know the origin of this project. And then eventually the president went on ELBC, and flip-flopped. He told us this was being sponsored by Monterey Union and blah, blah, blah. But like I said, yeah, we thank the ANC. We think this is good. We wish they had done it almost 2 years ago. This thing started back in September of 2024. We're in 2026. Where have they been? So, but we thank them that they've done this. We have made our position clear on this. We think there's a lot of lack of transparency on the part of this government. There are a lot of things that they're doing in the dark, but we need to form a chorus around these issues. There is tremendous power in a critical voice, critical mass. We can't be doing this. One person does it 5 years ago, and then another person does it 2 years later, and another person. To me, it loses the magnitude. So we have to do it in concert. So yes, I think what the ANC has done is good. I wish they had done it a lot earlier. But notwithstanding, I think it helps the process. We think this government should be open. There is a lot that is going on in this government. We have called for audits upon audits all over the place, from the legislature, to even the executive. Within the oral explanation, several pieces of explanation that they're not providing. So I support the call by ANC. This is something we have also, called for. They should come up and explain this to us. I only don't know. Like I read Councillor Freeman indicating, I don't know if the LACC is really going to do the task that ANC is demanding, is asking of them. I doubt if the LACC will have the spine to do what they're asking, because this project has been around for almost 2 years. Like I said, the LACC, do we really believe they don't know about it? So yeah, I read a letter directed to the chairperson of the LACC. I will hope they will pick it up. But notwithstanding, we think we need a little bit more unity within the opposition community. I think there's a lot of disjointed approach to these issues. Some of these issues, I think we need to move on them in concert, especially in a timely fashion. And I'm not knocking the ANC. I have absolutely no place. It is no place of mine to tell them when and how to react to issues. But notwithstanding, sometimes there's something I would say you have to strike when the iron is hot. Yes, this project is still on the table, but I wish, we had all come out in culture a long time ago. Maybe we would have compelled this government one way or the other to be more transparent than they are. But if we're approaching it, individualistically, I doubt if they will make the dent that we intend for it to make on this government.
Thank you. While we wait for calls, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, if we don't have calls, we're going to be going through our closing. I love this song. Liberia, our country, Liberia. Is the Foya development push a sign of long overdue rural investment, or does it risk feeding the perception that development follows political power rather than national planning? Anthony, you go.
Then there's development in Liberia for far too long now follow the political class dictates. And there where I agree with you and the veteran Namwe that look, we need a national development plan. We can't come somebody elected our president now to decide how we should develop as a country. We as a country should decide how our country should develop. Why are the building blocks of our development that we need? Roads, all the infrastructure that we need. Let's have a plan for our airports. How many airports do we need? How many seaports do we need now? How much will it cost to develop each to a capacity that generates significant revenue so that we can increase our revenue standing and make further investment to develop our country? We need that plan. That plan development cannot be achieved because we have the CDC in power with Propo or the United Party in power with arrest. No, it has not gotten us anywhere. Then is something I must share with our listeners. Rwanda experienced a brutal civil conflict as we did, just about the same time. 20 years now, about more than 20 years now since our war ended. We are still struggling. We have not solved any of our problems, none. We have not solved the education problem. We have not solved our infrastructural deficit. Healthcare, we have not solved that problem. Telecommunication, we are struggling. with internet, electricity, but these things are on an appreciable level in Rwanda. How they did it. So, and that is why, I tend to never ever be impressed by our political leaders. I mean, you can't solve a problem, especially this unity party we're talking about today. 12 years in power. You left our country after leading us for 12 years, and the airport, our international airport, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is this new internationalist. Our international airport, she left with the road heading to the airport as a path, not a single light pole. And this is the Unity Party. Liberian people have graciously given another opportunity to govern us. Here they are. They don't respect their fellow citizens. They feel that they are better than everyone else. Development is at the dictate of the political class. We don't have a national development plan. We are running behind foreigners to help us. I saw the launch. I want that project to be successful in Foya, so that my brothers and sisters in Foya, especially young people, will have that opportunity to experience the power of technology and what it can do to revolutionize the mind and subsequently the nation. I want them to see so. But if we approach development this way, I just articulated very well, I don't think we're going to get there, more so when there's no sustainability plan. And like Victor said, it will go in ruin when President Bouaka is no longer in power. It is about time we change that. It is about time we change that.
Thank you. I want us to conclude with a quick lightning round, since these are the things we started with. And I'm going to ask sometimes yes or no question, right? To go around. Did Joker cross the line? Yes or no, Victor?
Yes, I think, I'm sorry, I was muted. Yes, I think he did.
Legend, should the LACC investigate the Mano River Union Central project? Yes or no?
Certainly, yes.
George, Emmanuel, should the government publish all project documents for the Foya projects? Yes or no?
Yes.
And Sunni, is Foya receiving fair development attention or politically privileged attention?
Politically privileged attention at the detriment of the others.
Which matters more right now, speed of development or transparency of development, Victor?
I wish we could take both, but right now, transparency, I think, is more important.
One reform that will reduce suspicion around public projects, Emmanuel, what would be one reform that will reduce the suspicion around public projects?
Following the PPCC rules.
Legend, one question President Bouaka must answer on all these issues that we've discussed tonight. One question.
The issue of transparency relative to major projects in the country.
Thank you, gentlemen. We will now go around the room for your closing. I want to really appreciate your time here on Focus on Liberia. This is where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Oh, Stephen, are you still there? All right. Let's go around the room, starting with Mr. Nambe, Legend, Emmanuel, and then Anthony, and then Emmanuel for your closing.
Okay. So thank you all very much. And again, I don't want to raise the song coming to church late, so I don't know what songs have been raised. So I'll just go ahead and take a shot in the dark. But you brought up Jokai, and I've given him a lot of praise on this network. But I think I don't want to say overzealous, but I think he needs a little bit of direction. I think he is. He's raising a lot of eyebrows. He's becoming, one of those people who feel untouchable in the government. He publishes the code of conduct, and then he goes right ahead and contravenes the code of conduct, and then he comes out and pursue this cancel culture against Amara Kone simply because Kone has been speaking his truth. I think the president should fire him. I think he's an embarrassment to this government. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I don't believe anymore he understands his role as the chief HR person for this government. I don't think he understands his function. You know, I read the argument he's making is all flawed, you know, and I'm shocked that he even had the temerity to put that on paper and publish it on social media. So I think the president should give him, you know, his pardon notice and thank him for his contribution.
Give him some grace. If you have respected him now, he give him some grace.
Except that there are too many errors coming from him. I mean, yes, I mean, we're giving, look, this man got up from here and walked to City Hall and told people to fire people from there. We all came here and say, yeah, we think he's overdoing it. You know, he should take it easy. You know, he's stepping. You know, he's done a lot of things that I think I have added up to, I think, serious breach of competence, of trust. I think the president should fire him. The Foya project, I agree with the ANC. I think the government needs to come forth and really explain to us, these are our resources that they're deploying. You know, we've said it over here time and again. When we select you to manage our national coffers, it's a sacred trust, it's a sacred duty. You are special, you were selected among 5-point-something million people. That is a sacred duty you should take seriously. I don't think this government is taking this trust seriously. You know, they do this project. We've been calling for transparency. Nobody's saying anything up to now. I don't think anybody understands what this whole project is about. So I want to thank, you know, my brothers and sisters in the opposition community for, you know, speaking out. I hope this would have added the much needed weight for this government to finally come up and tell what this project is and how it is being funded. I think the LACC should pay attention to this and lift up the project. You know, so again, I want to thank you all tonight. There's a lot I'm sure you've discussed here, so I will probably go back and play the tape again, but it's good to be with you
here. Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
Yes, Dennis John, my brother, it's always my delight being here. And during my initial expose, I enumerated that I'm one of those who was a proponent of President Parker as ascending to power, considering we have George, who are filling in 6 years. And knowing that Liberia we've got ourselves age-old problems, I knew this government could not solve all of the problem, but I expected more of a prominent and astute son of the soil in President Parker. But there are some things, there are some lapses in this government that I did not foresee. However the case may be, 2029 is nearing and we will be there very shortly. I think Liberians should look in a different direction if we mean well for our country. And by that, I mean, United Party have had her chances. They were there through Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. My brother, as soon as he alluded to how Ellen Johnson Sirleaf were well supported by the international community because she was a female president, first of its kind, and she was extremely educated through economic and the international community were very supportive that we have come out of a prolonged civil upheaval. So they kind of threw a lot her way. And I left Liberia 2007, having seen Ellen ascend to power 2005. And when I got back 2017, I was extremely dejected in her leadership. I was extremely upset by virtue of the fact that major roads were still seen with a lot of potholes. Forget if it was just corner streets, but major roads like Sinko, Congo Town Bar Road, Congo Town Main Roads, all the main roads were still in deplorable state. So I was extremely downhearted, and because of that, I think they should step aside, United Party 2029, which I know they won't, but I think those are the arguments I will be proffering for them to step aside. Same as CDC, George Weah was there with CDC, and I don't see why they should want to bring Weah back. What different is he coming to do? Is he going to bring the same criminals with like or two the McGills and what have you? I think CDC should see reason to step aside, which I know they won't, but we'll have to fight them because someone like myself, ahead of the 2029 election, I will be on grounds. Thankfully, I have a lot of media influences in Liberia. We'll be speaking against those two parties to see that, like, I have interest in people like Mr. Comey, who have not had a chance to serve this time around, or Councillor Gwanglo. Those are two people who I like. And considering we have a couple of years left ahead of 2029, who knows? There may be other new or people, new people who have not had chances to serve, that will throw their hat in the race. But I think if we mean well for our country and we are very objective for our country to excel, I think we should go away from UP and CDC because they've had the chances, and it's only fair that we allow other people to ascend to power so that we see what they may do. Because I would say Liberia is a puzzle, and we're trying to figure out the right pieces. And in so doing, we got to keep trying and in the right direction until we get it right. So Dennis, I would say my greatest pleasure, and I'll retire here for now.
Thank you, Mr. Seale.
Dennis, thank you. We started with the Joker Nebo controversy. Joker definitely is in error. I will urge him to have a press conference to gather as many media entities as possible and accept that he erred and made the correction immediately. Any delay to not do so will be bad on his part. I said there as a family to him, as a brother to him, and as a friend to him. But I speak also as a leader here at a media institution that is about accountability. Josiah and I were shoulder to shoulder in advocating for the best of Liberia. I do not compromise when it comes to doing the right thing for our country. Josiah need to call a press conference. His statement that he wrote and sent to me in my capacity as a leader here, I focus on Liberia when I rally. I wanted to advise him to not publish it. He attacked Amara Conan for Amara doing the right thing. Amara did not do anything. Amara did not attack him. I was disappointed when I saw that particular statement coming from him. He needs to correct it immediately. And I hope he's going to do that. Then the ANC letter. I commend the ANC for taking that step. I want to see more of that. It is good for our country. And it shouldn't be the ANC alone. The CMC, Mr. Namba is saying that, well, it would have been better if the opposition people come together. I mean, maybe that is the start. And I said there in the spirit that it is our responsibility, those of us who are not in the government, to hold the government accountable to do right by our people and for our people. And it is within that spirit, I commend the ANC for taking that step because we need clarity, we need the answers. We can't have a government that preached transparency when it was in opposition, that promised us, transparency and accountability, and does something completely different. We need to hold them accountable on that. And then the Foya project, I'll call it, which is the village, the digital village. It is a good project. And thank God that the people in Foya are excited. I saw the faces of students who were smiling. They received copybooks. They received other things, and it's a good thing. But I agree with George that maybe Lofa or Foya is not the best place. But the president had to make a decision, and that was his decision. The people in Foya, they are Liberians too. So let there be a sustainability plan so that it will not just disappear in a year or two. Because just as they receive it with happiness, it should stay there to serve as many people there as possible. The last thing I want to talk about, the government did something good the other day. Then as you were talking about, maybe they could just provide internet access, maybe Starlink for most of the schools in the country. The government started something like that through the LTA. And they have this agreement with Starlink, and the government is going to provide Starlink internet services to 150 government high schools in Liberia. And they said they're going to put money in the budget to sustain it for the next, I think, 5 or 10 years, so as to keep it running. And I want to commend the government for that. I am a fan of internet. I know what it can do. And I want the government to go beyond that. It shouldn't be limited to that 150 government schools. It should be all government schools. And there should be functional libraries with computers at all government schools. And people with the skills should be assigned to train our young people to be able to access these services. On the road project, the government is making some good efforts, but I'm calling the government attention to the audit that was done by the GSC on the RIA road project. United Party need to do well on the RIA road project. And I will not leave this because I know the significance of this. When someone enters our country, that is the road they travel on to get to the city. And that road has been a discouragement. I believe strongly there are some investors that enter Liberia and never return because of that road. Because it did not project anything to them that this is a serious country. And I hold United Party accountable. And I'm sure they agree with me on this. The GSC did an audit. And the audit is alarming. And here's the link. And Focus on Liberia play a part by analyzing the audit report. Is right here. We'll post that here in the Facebook Live. You click on it. I think it's about 11 minutes. We did a job. Listen to it, and you will feel sad for our country. I want this government to pick up that audit report. They shouldn't treat it like all other audit reports in the past. Millions of data being given to East International. There are no receipts. The Ministry of Public Welfare is disagreeing with the road fund and all manner of things going on concerning this project. We provided the information as a media institution. We have done our work. I expect Liberian citizens to ask its government to bring clarity to this. The road has been going on for over 4 years. And we don't know where we're going with that. So Dennis, thank you. It has been a very great discussion.
Thank you. Before we bring in the ANC official, we got one caller who's always calling late.
I hope that's not Calabo.
Call out your name and where you calling from.
Yes, this is Calabo Gonglo.
Oh, you see, Dennis? I knew it was Calabo. Mr.
Go ahead, Calabo. You are live.
Yes, my name is Calabo Gonglo. I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Go ahead, sir.
So, here's what I will say. I actually was monitoring the show, but my older sister working, Madam Ida Gongo West, so I have to go stay with her a little bit. But on the Joker thing, I called on the show before. I used to be a panelist here, and I believe I'm still a panelist. I think I'm challenging FOL. The missteps by Josiah Joker, which I can nickname now as Joker, it's too much. I think FOL needs, I'm challenging FOL to issue a formal statement, withdrawing the title they gave him as democracy consultant on FOL. This is my second time challenging FOL to do so. Josiah Joker went to Liberia.
Yeah,
the first instant was
we want to do due process, so we need to have a hearing.
No, you are a private company. If someone is giving you a bad image, you call the person democracy consultant. But the first action in public space was to trample upon the free speech of Liberians. What about democracy consultant is that? He fired people from City Hall because they had the issue statement on a private social media page, disagreeing with the president or disagreeing with the government. He was an activist on that and fired them. And even issued circulars, basically 177, not to engage, not to hold political opinion, which is a constitutional right of any civil servant to hold opinion about your government. He said they should not talk in the public space. But he is FOL democracy consultant. He still carries that title. I'm challenging FOL to do the needful by withdrawing that title from him. Because you are a media outlet, you reflect the society. This guy cannot continue to work as a democracy consultant while serving in government and trampling upon the free speech rights of all our Liberians. The second thing I was, look at the justification Joker gave. He forgot that he even signed a code of conduct. Every defense he provided for himself were all involved. They're all written in the code of conduct. You know, I don't know what kind of logic you were using. Dennis, you and I spoke about this briefly today. but he's much more closer to Ansoni. And I know Ansoni does not back him, but I'm challenging Ansoni to push FOL to take action on Joker. The issue with the Foya thing, this is my opinion. I think ANC did the right thing by calling on the LACC to investigate. But let's go one step beyond. ANC has got some people in the legislature. I think they should call on their lawmakers to also write the Ministry of State to appear before the legislature, because that's a political forum, to also make statement about this. I think you should push your lawmaker both in the Senate or in the House of Representatives. Let them write a formal letter to the President pro tem to put something on the agenda, or to the Speaker to put something on the floor for debate or to cite this bill. That would be my addition to ANC action. But it's a good move to actually call on the LACC to look into this matter.
Thank you. And I think we have a consensus here tonight that Dr. Joker is in error, and his defense does not hold. But thank you for the call. Also, I think you've been hearing about the diaspora relationship, but Dr. Carl Johnson and Dr. George Gompu at the Ramapo College of New Jersey, they've been working on this topic of remittances, investment, and economic development. Evidence on Liberia. They've been working on this for like 2 years now. And so they will be my guest tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern to talk about remittances. And then, because there's a new bill that is asking Liberians to surrender $1 for every remittance sent, we're going to get in that topic too. So join me tomorrow with our two professors, Dr. Carl Johnson and Dr. George Gompu, so we can discuss this. Dr. Carl Johnson is the African diaspora historian, and Dr. George Gompu is an economist. So we're going to have a very good discussion tomorrow, 5 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Emmanuel, close up tonight.
In the late 1980s, President Sardido started a project in Swedru, Grangeda County. For many of us at that time, we believe it was a presidential villa that was being developed by the president and could be used for other presidents, as we had in Greenville, San County, and Harper, Maryland County. Few years later, we got to know that it was the personal property of President Samuel Kayando. And that building today lies in ruins, despite an investment that were estimated to be around $25 million in the 1980s. We have decided not to stay silent. In the 80s, President Dole thought he could keep us silent by putting us in prison in Harper, Maryland County. And we are still here, so we still keep speaking on behalf of the Liberian people. We have a project in Foya, Lofa County, that no one seems to know the cost of the project. In some quarters, it's 10 million. In another quarter, it's 6 million. No one seems to claim ownership of the project. From the president himself to his Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. And even the Minister of Public Works, when he was asked about the project, he pleaded the fifth, that he knew nothing about that, and he couldn't speak to it. On Monday, the Alternative National Congress wrote the LACC asking for an investigation. For those who are asking or wondering why we did not go to the legislatures, yes, we sent a copy to the Speaker. But we all know that it is the Speaker have have named himself the regent speaker, and it's only when he decides that something should be on the agenda of the legislature that it is placed on the agenda of the House of Representatives. But we have written him, and he has a copy of the letter, and we have the signature from his office. We are confident that the neutral body LACC will take up this investigation and will bring a report to the public in the near future. We can no longer, as politicians, continue to talk on radio talk shows without trying to make sure that everything we say is made an activity. This step we take is the beginning of many other steps that will be taken by the collective opposition to place this government feet to fire, including taking the government to the court of law in order for us to have information or in order for us to ask them to carry out investigation, especially cases that bring our country to disrepute, like in a case of immigration fraud that has been circulating within the public since February this year. We want to congratulate the president for groundbreaking the Monokoma Highway. I think it's a good endeavor. It is important for us to have a lot of road connectivities in counties like Mima, Bum, Lofa, and have a great connectivity towards the southeast, where we have wonderful, beautiful beaches and good place for tourism. We should do more of that. But I do not know what a village in Foya would do for the Republic of Liberia. It is a great initiative, but I strongly believe that it's in the wrong place. To our brother, the CSA director, what you did was wrong. And I believe you were thinking about it and you were asleep over it. A few days ago, I praised your wife for her action at the John F. Kennedy Medical House Center because I felt she did the proper thing as the director of nursing to call her nurses to training when there was an alert of suspected individuals who have come from Uganda and were placed under surveillance, 16 of them in Liberia. I strongly believe that she did the right thing, and the Liberian people, instead of beating her up, should be praising her because as a director of nursing, you are responsible to train your frontline workers. As we go to bed tonight, our country is at a crossroad. A few years ago, we were ahead of two countries in our sub-region, Guinea and Sierra Leone. Few years later, we are the least country in the sub-region. Everybody else is ahead of us. It cannot be like this. It should not be like this. And this is why I'm calling on every one of you, including my brother, the legend, to join this train of change through the Alternative National Congress, led by the political will and the political vision of Mr. Essendon Benedict Cummings, as we galvanize the opposition, the community of the willing, to come together so that we have a Liberia that we'll be proud of, a Liberia that our children will be proud of, and a Liberia that our children will be proud of. So before I close out tonight, I should have said it in the beginning, I want to wish all my Muslims, brothers and sisters, happy Eid Mubarak and Aha. As you celebrate this beautiful day of Abraham, may the sacrifices that the prophet Abraham made and the sacrifices that you made today and distributed with your friends and your loved ones continue to image in your heart and emanate in the heart of everybody. Thank you for inviting me tonight. I enjoyed the conversation. I have fun. You all have a wonderful, beautiful night.
For better
Thank you, Emmanuel. And because we did our campaign push, we are putting our cash app on the screen so that you can give something. Our account is in red. So please, we have to be very intentional. But gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. On behalf of all of us here at Focus on Liberal, we say thank you and thank to our viewers. Always focus on Liberal. This is where, and don't forget, I mean, we have a lot of videos on all major social media platforms. Please look at those videos. They are the best the country have ever seen. At this time, we're going to close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have a good night, and may God richly bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. LIB, stand up.
Take me back to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.